Dan was watching, waiting, but he just ended up being the first traitor banished. I think this season is getting better and better. I have watched the roundtable from this episode multiple times. I feel like the message from this episode was do not underestimate a bachelor or any of the housewives. I mean, who would have predicted Cherie catapulting her cannonball the closest to the target, beating Peter, Trishelle, Sandra and Parvati to the shield? This week's challenge was the kind that made Kate miserable in season 1.
Everyone knows I hate this hill. Last time I was here, I had a little throw my toys out the pram moment. So I feel like Alan is making me redo this mission on purpose. I want comfort and leisure. Why can't we hang out in the castle?
She really didn't want to take that unclaimed shield box.
Are you going to keep that for yourself or give it to someone? Who do you think deserves it?
No one. To attempt to get the shield, I just have to put the box on the hay. I don't want to put the box on the hay. Fighting for a shield just feels so desperate.
It was funny when they were kind of looking to Kate for help and insight early in the day.
People start looking to me like I'm some kind of expert. I'm like, listen, I just got here. I'm still trying to remember people's names. So pass the toast.
I thrive when I'm miserable, so I feel like I'm going to do well.
I think it's going to be nice to have some fresh eyes here for sure.
Okay.
Circling back to Peter's plan, which he laid the groundwork for in episode 5, Dan completely fell into the trap. Despite Parvati's warning, thinking Peter wasn't that savvy, Dan went in on Bergie for the murder, but he turned up for breakfast with the shield. Am I the only one who now has Burgerlicious in their head? Due to the previews before the episode, I was wondering if Dan was going to take a shot at another traitor or go for Peter. As the episode went on, Dan made it clear he wanted to murder Peter and take down a traitor at the roundtable. He did neither of those. Usually, when a traitor has gone after another traitor, they pick one that has a bit of heat on them. That's part of the reason why they succeed. That's where Dan went wrong. Another reason is that he totally underestimated Phaedra, but he can't say he wasn't warned. He obviously wasn't paying attention when Phaedra was warning Parvati in episode 4, and she actually warned him too. I did wonder if the Faithfuls will see it as a desperate ploy, especially given Dan's reasons for going after Phaedra and his lack of input in previous episodes. The real play was to go after Parvati. Her name was already in the mix for banishment, so the votes could have swung in his favour. She was also one of the people Peter laid the trap for. It wasn't just the move in this episode, his strategy from day one was a problem. Some of the best players have managed to have a core set of people they work with. It helps when going to the round table with a name. Peter has people. Phaedra has people. Dan continued to leave himself too insulated, not talking the game with anyone except Parvati. He had been called out and warned about this. So when you throw a random name and you don't have any people to back you up, then it's all in vain. Dan was the only one that voted for Phaedra, but that might come back to bite her later in the game. If you weren't paying enough attention, then going after Phaedra looks like it's coming out of left field, though Trishelle has totally clocked onto it.
Dan waited so long to say anyone's name, and at that point he called out Phaedra. I think that he knew that we needed to be fed a traitor, and I think that Phaedra is a traitor and no one's even suspecting it.
I think his overconfidence had Dan thinking he was just dealing with Peter the Bachelor and Phaedra from the Housewives because he is Dan from Big Brother, and according to some that have actually watched the show, he is one of the best players. Dan totally forgot he was dealing with Peter the pilot and especially Phaedra the lawyer.
Like, he's just not that slick. He's the Bachelor, you know, he gives roses out. He doesn't give out like crazy game theories, but he got me. I have to change up how I'm playing this game completely.
Maybe I should have known better to go up against such an elegant lawyer.
But baby, you deflected on the wrong one because you gonna learn tonight.
The way she confidently rebutted his statements needs to be studied. Also, Kate with the assist was a valuable addition.
So you've been watching me from day one?
Yeah.
No one's ever written your name down. Why do you think that is?
No one's ever written a lot of people's name down. That doesn't mean they're a traitor.
Voting patterns. Can you explain the Ekin-Su vote?
I voted for Ekin-Su because of the issue she had with Janelle, because she changed her story. Everybody knows that.
And then what about the breakfast murder reactions? Every time
What breakfast murder reactions?
the Bergie,
Not my burgerlicious was problematic for you.
the Marcus,
Consoling
Marcus?
Larsa
Yeah.
was
Because I'm consoling
problematic for you.
Larsa?
yeah.
A fellow housewife? What was
Yeah.
I supposed to do?
That her boyfriend got sent home?
I'm just, these are,
No, I don't understand this.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
What's
just,
the logic behind that?
the logic behind me is that it's always like a little bit extra. Like,
Have you seen her?
that's true.
I'm
And-
very extra,
okay.
baby. I do too much because you do too little. But tonight you're doing way too much because you know you're getting ready to get banished. So you're trying to put the heat on me, which is a crock of BS. You're Big Brother winner not once, but twice.
Almost twice.
Well, either way, you have knowledge of this game. So if there was really a mastermind, it sure wouldn't be a dolled up housewife, baby. That would not be it. Let's not forget, Burgerlicious voted for you last night. And who got the murder one? Burgerlicious. Why? Because Dan thought that he was able to be murdered. Is that not correct?
The only thing that's a little obvious, though,
Okay, but why would I want him out? I don't have any problems with
I didn't
Bergie.
say you wanted him out.
You're saying I'm the killer?
I think if Phaedra was thinking long game, she would keep me around because I trust her.
Yeah.
Okay,
But no one trusts you, darling. And I didn't know anything about who had the shield.
In this game, as a traitor, you cannot make one mistake. And I made a huge mistake tonight.
Let's also give a mention to John's voting reasons. My fellow countryman really says things on another level.
My vote is for Dan. I listened intently to you, Dan, tonight, and your deflection was on to Phaedra. And that case was comprehensively rebutted. Treachery deserves to be punished by banishment. Banishment, my dear friend, should be your fate tonight. This guy is the silent slaughterer, and that's the sum of it.
Yes.
I understand why Parvati wants to seduce Peter, but will this turn out to be a bad move in the end? She's only looking at him murdering, but he has the numbers to banish. He already has suspicions about Parvati, so a move away from her would look suspicious amongst the group he has. What Parvati and Phaedra don't know is that Trishelle thinks Phaedra is a traitor, and it's a matter of time before she shares it with the group, which Peter can then use to banish Phaedra. If he accepts, are we seeing the path to his victory?
Are you good with that? Because you've had a tough day, too.
I have definitely had a tough day, but you're on your deathbed. I'm walking into the hospital. You're in the ICU, baby. You're about to flatline. So do what you want to do. I'm going to follow.
Let's just light this place on fire.
Well, light it on fire, Parvati.
Okay, now I'm off to rewatch that roundtable. For more videos about the traitors, click on the video on screen. See you next time.